go back in time, this is my thought process. I mean, how much do I know really? But this is the way I think. If you go back in time, men were the providers, women were the caretakers.
Okay.
Today, we've completely messed that around. And we women want to work, we women want to be independent, and that's fine. You know, it's called change, which is constant. And we've got to realize, though, that while we're doing that, we are going through changes within ourselves as well. And sometimes when we talk about women power and we talk about, you know, being independent and burn the bra, I go, you've got to watch how far you go. It's absolutely fine being independent. It's absolutely fine being strong and, you know, a career woman. But when you burn the bra, really, the woman's the only one who suffers. So don't really go burning your bra. You need to hold on to being feminine. And that is something I think we as Indian women especially have. You know, we have got, our women in today's world are very few of all the countries around the world who have managed, those who have managed to go independent, largely have managed to get independent and at the same time keep their femininity. Because in the West you find very little of that. As they get more and more independent, it's, you know, they're getting more masculine. I mean, that's my observation.
Yeah.
And wearing trousers is not necessarily something masculine. You can wear trousers and be feminine at the same time. Why are women getting depressed? Because we're dealing with so much. We're dealing with careers, we're dealing with families, we're dealing with, you know, poor guys, give the guys a break. We are the ones changing so much, and really they have to deal with women who are now paying the bill as well. They have to deal with women who are earning, and some women earn more than their men.
Yes.
And the poor guys haven't changed so much, they're still earning. So their cycle of change has not been as stark as ours. So it's all this that we're dealing with. Then you're dealing with in-laws, you're dealing with, you know, the men in your family, be it your brother, your father, your husband, especially in India because we're still fairly a conservative society.
Yes.
You have that very small, minuscule amount of women who are modern today. But if you look at the bigger picture, look at India on a whole, the numbers don't make up us career women. I think your high divorce rates is because everything's become fast food today. Everything's instant, everything's now or never. So we have got such a short retention span today, and we're just not willing to make an effort.
Okay.
And I think that's why, sadly, you know, and I'd say that's one of my biggest fears, which is why I'm still single, where I come from the old school. For me, marriage is permanent, you know, it's a lifetime partner.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody thinks that when they're getting married. Nobody thinks about divorce when they're getting married, except to do a prenup, which is a good idea. But I think divorce rates have now reached the equivalent of New York, from Bombay to New York. It's the same because we live in such a fast-paced life and we don't want to make the effort, sadly. It's not about women. That's where it's men and women. It takes two to tango. You know, it takes two hands to clap. And people don't want to go that extra mile and make that extra effort. In yesteryears, it was not an option.
Okay.
So they would bend backwards to make it work. And I'm not saying you've got to take, you know, so much crap just to make your marriage work, but you try harder. And I just feel today, I mean, people were probably looking at me and going, what do you know? They're probably throwing pillows at the television right now and going, what do you know? You know, you haven't been married. You don't know what it's like to go through a divorce. No, I don't, but I am a product of divorce. You know, my parents split up when I was 13 years old. I know people don't just sit across and go, okay, you know what, we're not getting along, let's just call it quits. It doesn't work that way. It reaches a point for them to then get a divorce. But I think many a time, people can work harder. In today's world, the reason why in Bombay the divorce rate has reached New York is simply because we can work harder. And, you know, they probably don't try that little extra. India is, I wouldn't even say on the threshold because we've already reached there, where it's a country to really reckon with. And we have come so far, and we really are in a very powerful position. So India has grown to such a large extent. I think it's just a matter of time. You already have people coming back, you know, people who've gone out and studied or people who've gone abroad and worked. are already coming back because they see the potential India has.
Yeah.
We are young and fast and dynamic growing.
And the
So-
education system.
Look, our education system is amazing. Sure, we can do better, but there's always room for improvement. There is no such thing as perfect. Education system's amazing. I am an 8th standard dropout.
Okay.
Okay, I did not finish schooling after that. I know when people saw it in Big Boss, people would come up to me on the streets and go, "Is it true that you dropped out of school?" Yes, it's true. I dropped out of school and I started working from the time I was 14 years old. So I speak the way I do because I was a voracious reader. I had a fantastic educational background, and that's what we need. That's what we have. Our system, our method of teaching is changing, which is good. You know, I think it's good. When I won Miss World, I went back to Hyderabad for my homecoming. And one of the saddest things is I did this amazing video. Amazing. It made my hair stand as I was doing it. And I did a whole series of them over a course of a few days. And it was for the then CM, for his charity project. And it was Educate the Girl Child. And Chandrababu Naidu had done it. And it was a beautiful series of Educate the Girl Child AVs. But unfortunately, they couldn't use it. I think it became a political issue that they couldn't use it. But the purpose of it was for charity. And I made sure there was no branding of any party around me because I'm very, very careful about that. If I do work, I'm doing charity work, I don't want any political connection to it. Even if politicians are involved in it, I don't want any political party connection to it because I'm doing it universally. I'm not doing it for a particular party. And we did it and they just didn't get to air it.
And
Or
it's
barely
not aired?
did. No, but it was so beautiful. It was Educate the Girl Child. I remember this little girl in a village where she was sifting through rice.
Okay.
And as she's sifting through it, with her finger, she writes, "Ah," you know, which shows her hunger to learn. And then it cuts to me saying, you know, educate the girl child. When you educate, and this is so true, when you educate a boy, you're educating an individual. When you educate a girl, you're educating a family. I did a whole series of them.
Okay.
One being Educate the Girl Child, the other being Vaccinate Your Child Against Polio. And it was for the masses in Andhra Pradesh. And I dubbed it in Telugu, and I don't even speak Telugu. I can speak like 3 sentences, and that's about it. But they got me down from London a couple of times over to do it. But I heard because of political reasons they couldn't use it because it was one party saying the other party was using it for their own personal means or gain. And I just made sure that there was no branding to what I was aware of any political party around, because at that time Chandrababu Naidu was the chief minister and he was very clear that it was a message, a social message he wanted to send out on his project called Janmabhoomi.
Okay.
So I did it, and I think it barely got aired, if at all. When it comes to our position, the best that I could do is be there, lend my name, lend my voice, support, shout out from the mountaintops. And, you know, I think everybody has got a position in life and everybody is capable of doing so much in life. And it's a bit like passing on the baton to complete the relay, you know. So you do something, you pass the baton on, and that person does it, and that's how the message would eventually reach across. It's like, this is like what I always tell the media, I can be talking about all the organizations and how much we can help and what a difference we can make, and just, you know, be careful with your plastics, be careful with your light, use energy saving bulbs, be aware, you know, switch your lights off, switch your fans off if you're not using them. I could say it, but the message is not going to get carried if you don't, as the media, if you don't carry it. So everyone has got a purpose when it comes to passing a message on. So I think it got stopped halfway through as the baton was being passed on.